Carp bait is a very personal thing. There are some really good baits on the market. I'm one of these people who sticks to what I'm confident in. I know what works for me. I'm sure you're just as confident in what works for you. But this works with whatever bait you choose to use. Now, if you follow me on social media, you'll see I often talk about glugged and glazed baits. I bet you're thinking, what's that all about? Well, years ago, I realised that I'd rather catch a carp in half an hour than in 2.5, 3.5, or a day and a half. And what you need to do is, obviously, you need to get yourself on the fish and you need to find yourself feeding fish. Once you find feeding fish, you've got to make them excited enough to pick up your hook bait. And I've always found that by making my free offerings very attractive, it soon gets carp to feed. A lot of people fish over bog standard free offerings and make their hook bait stand out. To me, that's quite daft, because one hook bait has not got loads of attraction. But if I make all my free offerings stand out, I'm going to draw the carp into the area. So what I do is I glug and glaze my free offerings. Now, there are a number of good baits in our range. There's a key cray, there's a strawberry crush. I love the key, but Scopex squid is an all-round winner. Whenever you take Scopex squid, it will work. So I'm going to take you through today about how to glug and glaze this. Now, I use freezer baits, but I accept that not everybody's got their own freezers. When I lived at home with mum and dad, I didn't get much freezer facility, and if I did, I had to hide it behind the peas. So if you haven't got freezer facilities, it doesn't make any difference. You can use shelf life or stabilised boilies. So these are stabilised boilies, shelf life. All you do is you get your packet of shelf life stabilised boilies, some stick mix and some bait soak liquid. So ideally, you'll put these in the freezer overnight. Now, I think no matter how hard your mum and dad are, or your missus is, she's not going to mind one of these bags going in the freezer. It's not maggots, it's not opened. So stick that in for 24 hours, 48 hours at the most. As soon as you've got it out of the freezer, cut the top off. And what we're going to do is we're going to put some of those in a bag. It needs to be a good heavy bag. Don't go to some of the cheap shops and get a freezer bag, because they'll fall to pieces. So your frozen boilies, because remember they've been frozen overnight, go in those. Probably about ½ kilo at the most is fine. ½ kilo of boilies in there. Remember, they're frozen. We've got the bait soak liquid. This isn't an exact science. It doesn't need to be an exact science either. All you're going to do is pour some of the liquid in there. Probably about 40 mils. Seal the top up. And give it a good shake. All those baits are now coated in the liquid bait soak. So that's the glugging. We've then got what I call is the stick mix. Again, cut the top off that. And again, it's not an exact science. It doesn't need to be an exact science. And all we're doing is we're pouring some of this stick mix in. I'd usually use my hands, but I don't want to get filthy. So that's like dry ground bait, isn't it, if you're a general fisherman? And again, we're going to seal the bag like that, and we're going to shake it. You don't need to do it too long. And then what you've got is your frozen boilies coated in the liquid with the stick mix over the top. As the boilies start to defrost, they will draw in the liquid. The stick mix, which is dry, will adhere to the outside of it, and it literally sticks to it like a ball of goodness. When you catapult these out, or spawn them out, or throw them by hand, they hit the bottom and instantly they're working. A boilie's got a problem in that it's sealed. Once you're covered in these, there's bits of stick mix falling off, there's a liquids, and the carp will come along, and it's literally a eat me flavour trail. And that literally is working from day one. Absolutely fantastic, a massive advantage. That literally is twice as good as a bog standard boilie, and you can do it with whatever boilie mix you use. You can do it with freezer baits or without freezer baits. Freezer baits are great because you just take them out, but if you've got stabilised bait, stick them in the freezer, do them like that, and your catch rate will improve.